represents faculty. We have one student who represents students. I don't know what the magic number is, guys. I don't know.
That's good.
Do you think it's fair to only have one student out of the 17?
It seems to work.
And do you think it's fair to have all lawyers, real estate developers, corporate CEOs on the board of trustees who decides the future of education, and they're actually not in academia at all? Do you think that's fair?
Again, that's one of the reasons we have a faculty member on there. That's one of the reasons that
One
I work with
faculty
these guys.
member
We have the commissioner of education is on the board of governors.
How could the ones not facing these problems not be the ones that are the voice? You know, like, I mean, I think that's a lot what these questions are speaking to. So.
Yeah. Well, the way the system is supposed to work is there is a member of the board of trustees at the institutional level who is elected by student government, right? They're the voice of the students at the local level. Then the elected representatives from each institution get together and elect the person to give them their voice on the board of governors. So the voice is supposed to come up and work through those individuals at the institutional level and then at the board of governors level. So, you know, even if you increase it by 2, you've got 2 voices with that working through, but, you know, so you got stereo, I give you that, but at the end of the day, it's representative government, and that's the way it's supposed to be.
Question, do you guys vote on things as a board?
Well, I don't, because I'm actually not a member of the board. I work,
Let me rephrase.
but
Does
does the board vote on
things?
Yes.
I think that's maybe the issue with that they're getting at with student representation is it's all well and good to have one voice for the students and one voice for the faculty, but that would seem to together those people that are actually in academia would not seem to wield very much voting power in proportion to the other interests represented on the board. And
So you're talking about proportionate representation.
I'm talking about the ability to actually make decisions, not just to present points of view.
Yeah.
You know, are you Puerto Rico and you're basically sitting there observing because 2 votes can't really do much against a block of 15.
Yeah, but based on that theory, then the only people who could get a guaranteed representation would have a majority of votes on the board. And the idea is that all these people are supposed to come and represent the system and vote their conscience based on the system. So the question then would become, if it were more than one, how many would you need in order to guarantee fair representation?
Right.
It's a little bit like Congress, you know? How many Congress people do you need, and in what is the right balance to represent people in a state, and then the needs of the nation?
So I would take how effectively the other members have represented the interests of educators and people who are going through the process of education.
No.
And I would say that kind of points to
And
a
that's
lack of effectiveness there.
And that's a different issue, because on one hand you're talking about volume, on the other hand you're talking about philosophical representation. What do the people? Well, clearly, I mean, but again, the only way to lick the volume problem is to have a majority of anything, and that way you're guaranteed the idea of fair representation. On a philosophical side, then you got to stand back and you got to look at each of the members and what they bring to the table and what their particular points of view are.
Right.
So, yeah, and I will tell you, because I work with these guys all the time, they do not revel in the idea of student tuition increases either. It's difficult to wake up in the morning and go, I'm so excited I get to go raise student tuition today. It's a beast. The problem we face is, with a declining revenue base, if you don't make it up, you have, it could be as much as 15% less money to deal with. And somehow that's got to, like squeezing the air in the balloon, that's got to come out and have a negative impact on students.
So, like, how are students like
Hobson's choice,
so with I definitely understand your point. With tuition increases and stuff, like, how are students supposed to cope with, like, you know, raising tuition, cutting of like scholarships and stuff, but as well increase like new like construction projects on campus and stuff that like the board of governors is approving and stuff like that. Like that kind of like it's kind of weird to students that these multi-million-dollar things are being built on campus while you're raising tuition. You know.
Well, there's bad news in that regard too, because we're down to 0 on construction money now too. So it's you know, we're feeling it across the board. That was one area because it had a dedicated source of revenue. I'm not sure if you know how that works. It's a little complicated, even for me, and I've been at this a long time, but construction money comes from what's called the gross receipts tax. Your cell phone, to own a cell phone, you pay a tax. to own a landline, you pay a tax. All those taxes go into a pot of money that is set aside by law specifically for education construction. It is split three ways: K-12, state college system, and universities. The problem with that source of revenue is because of the recession, people aren't buying as many cell phones, and everybody's giving up their landlines. I'm living proof of that. I never thought I'd see the day where I didn't have a telephone in my house, but I don't. And so that source of revenue is dried up now too, which is a big problem, especially in a growing state university system where you need more classrooms, more laboratories, and you got to take care of the ones you've already got. So these are tough issues, and there's no one solution, nor is there any easy solution. These are tough. So I respect you guys being here. Because you're students, and I kind of like students. That's what I do.
One last question. How much opposition would there be to student dictating who's on this board and who's not?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
From my understanding, I may be wrong, does not the governor go to this board?
Yes.
So how much opposition would there be to students actually appointing individuals to this board as opposed to the governor?
If you're the governor, probably a lot of opposition.
Well, the governor's a criminal.
But again, that's a constitutional issue. The governance structure of the state university system, which includes the board of governors, the 17-member board of governors, and then each of the boards of trustees is all laid out in the Constitution. Now, I only mention that for information, but I also mentioned that it is fair to change the Constitution. Can it be done? Sure. Sure, it can. But I'm only pointing it out for information. In order to do it, even if it's a good idea, it requires getting it on the ballot and getting it through the Supreme Court for clarity and all those kinds of things. Even the one that's in the pipe today, when I said pipe, it's in the bill to change the way the student gets there. It's got to first pass the legislature, and then it has to clear the Supreme Court hurdle for clarity's sake, just to get it on the ballot. And it requires a 2/3 vote of the legislature, which is hard to get. Believe me, it's hard to get a 51% vote of anything in the legislature. It's a very good 2/3. So anyway, I got to get in there so they don't.
All right. Thank you, Chancellor.
Thank you guys. Thanks for standing out here in the cold.
We'll be inside soon.